"You're the one they say fixes the unfixable," she asked. But it wasn't a question. It was a challenge. The garage had no name. Didn't need one. Everyone in town called it Eli's, not because they knew him, but because they knew not to question him. He fixed things. Silently. Completely. Then she arrived. Boots that had never touched gravel. Eyes sharper than steel. A white t-shirt so clean it didn't belong anywhere near this side of town. She stepped out of a spotless Suburban with Chicago plates and walked straight toward him, like she owned the air between them. She didn't smile. She popped the trunk and dragged out something heavy wrapped in a dirty canvas tarp. It dropped with a screech across the concrete. Metal. Burnt. Dead. "This engine," she said, almost amused, "went through 3 engineers at Blake Automotive. All of them called it unsalvageable." She stepped in, voice lowering just enough to make it personal. "But someone told me you sometimes do miracles." Eli didn't respond. He just stared at the machine like it owed him answers. Then came the line. Thrown like trash. Dressed as humor. "If you fix it, I'll marry you." No smile. No wink. Just words weaponized like a dare. Eli didn't flinch. He wiped his hands on a rag so old it looked like it had witnessed confessions. Then, he nodded. Once. Slow. She blinked. Caught off guard. Seriously? Still nothing from him. She turned, almost scoffing. "You won't pull it off," she muttered, heading back to her SUV. "But I'd love to see you try." The tires rolled away, leaving only silence behind. Eli stood over the engine. No reaction. Just movement. He picked up the tarp. Unwrapped it. The metal hit the table with a dull, heavy thud. And for the first time in years. Eli leaned in close, listening. As if the engine was trying to whisper something only he could hear. "Some people want you to succeed. Others just want to see you fall trying." In a spotless boardroom high above Austin, Jessica Blake sat with her back straight, tablet glowing, and ambition sharper than her heels. Around her, engineers whispered numbers and made excuses. But she didn't need their approval. She needed proof. "He won't fix it," she said flatly, scrolling past a live video feed from the garage. That engine was never about function. It was bait. Ryan Carter, seated across from her, leaned back and laughed like he'd heard a good joke. "A dusty mechanic? We could have sent it to MIT." Jessica didn't look up. Exactly. In Maplewood, Eli worked in silence. The radio was off. The fan groaned overhead. Tools lay open like surgical instruments, but he didn't touch anything yet. He examined the engine slowly. Scorch marks on the outer casing. Circuits warped. Bolts that didn't match factory specs. It wasn't just broken, it had been tampered with. Deliberately. Still, Eli didn't speak. He didn't ask who or why. He pulled out a weathered notebook from beneath an old crate. Flipped to a clean page. Held the pencil like it remembered more than his mouth ever would. And began to sketch. No numbers. No formulas. Just shape. Flow. Weak points. Stress lines. The engine didn't scare him. It spoke to him. Then, his pencil stopped. Just one page in. He stared at the lines, frozen. Whatever was wrong with this engine, it wasn't an accident. It was intentional. Some engines don't scream. They whisper when they come back to life. The garage didn't sleep. Neither did Eli. Coffee went cold. Metal ran hot. Hours bled together as he moved through the wreckage, focused, precise, silent. The engine lay dismantled across the table, but there was no chaos. Each piece was cleaned, positioned, labeled. This wasn't repair. It was resurrection. The fan creaked overhead, but he didn't notice. He was inside the machine now, inside the sabotage, the betrayal, the burnt wires that someone wanted him to miss. A faint knock echoed from the half-open door. Noah stood there, 11, barefoot, holding a bottle of orange soda. "That from a race car?" he asked, eyes wide. Eli didn't answer. Just pointed to a loose wire. Then held out a wrench. The boy lit up. Stepped inside like he'd been invited into a secret. That afternoon, the SUV returned. Tires too clean. Music still playing inside. Jessica stepped out. No clipboard. No sarcasm. Just curiosity, or maybe concern. She entered slowly. Then stopped cold. The engine, once declared unsalvageable, lay in fragments, but not dead. The pieces glowed. Not from polish, but from intent. Organized. Breathing. Like they were waiting for the moment to come alive again. She moved closer. Read the labels. Studied the structure. This wasn't standard procedure. It wasn't even corporate legal. It was new. It was right. And it was being built without her. Jessica realized then, this wasn't a fix. Eli wasn't restoring her broken challenge. He was rebuilding the future she had thrown away. She stepped back, stunned. Got into her truck. Drove off. But this time, she wasn't running. She was circling back. He mocked Eli's garage, until the engine pulsed under his breath. The door slammed open without a knock. Ryan Carter stepped in like he owned the place, sunglasses still on, gum cracking, confidence leaking from every word. "Still pretending this place is a lab," he scoffed. "You know that engine's worth more than your entire garage, right?" Eli didn't look up. Just kept turning a bolt in slow, deliberate motion, like time didn't belong to Ryan here. Ryan took a step closer, voice sharper now. "Let me guess, you think you're gonna make it run? If you break it worse, we'll charge you for every screw. Hell, we'll bill you for the air it breathes." In the corner, Noah paused mid-sweep. His grip tightened on the broom. His eyes locked on Eli, waiting for something to snap. But Eli didn't snap. He reached forward, adjusted 2 wires, and flicked a switch. A hum. Not loud. Not flashy. Just a subtle vibration that filled the room. Alive. Controlled. Steady. Ryan's gum stopped moving. His smirk faltered. He took 1 step back. The engine was breathing again. And Eli hadn't said a word. Ryan tried to recover, louder now, forced. "Don't touch it again. I'm reporting you. And if you think Jessica Blake's marrying a grease monkey, better start shopping for a clown suit." He turned, laugh echoing through the garage. But this time, it didn't land. Outside, Ryan laughed again. But it wasn't smug anymore. It was short. Sharp. And just a little nervous. The internet remembers everything, including dares you never meant to go viral. The clip exploded online. One moment, a quiet hum in a dusty garage. The next, millions watching, replaying her voice. "If you fix it, I'll marry you." They played it on loop. Paused on her smirk. Shared it with captions, "She said it, now keep your word." Comments flooded in, "Give him the ring." "Girl, why you playing?" Jessica watched the video in silence. At first curious. Then frozen. The sound of her own laughter felt sharp, not amused, but hollow. Wrong. She picked up her phone. Called. No answer. She typed an email. Then another. All unread. The screen dimmed. She didn't. This wasn't just a challenge anymore. It had become public entertainment. And Eli, the one man who never asked for attention, had been dragged into the spotlight by her joke. She got in her car. No folder. No plan. Just the weight of a voice she couldn't take back, and the door she wasn't sure he'd open. A boy speaks what grown men are too afraid to say. Jessica stepped onto the lot, heart tight, words ready. But before she could knock, Noah stood in the doorway, arms crossed, eyes steady. You laughed when you should have listened. She froze. That one sentence cut through everything she had rehearsed. She opened her mouth, then closed it. There was nothing to say. Not to him. Mrs. Helen arrived moments later, soft steps and older eyes. She sat beside Noah and spoke gently. People think Eli's always been this way. But they never knew him before. He had a wife, a daughter. Then the accident happened. After the funeral, he came here. Never said a word. Just, started fixing. Jessica's breath caught. It all made sense now, the silence, the distance, the precision. The engine was never the real test. Eli already knew how to fix that. The real test was her. Inside the garage, the lamp glowed faintly. Eli wasn't rebuilding metal anymore. He was trying to rebuild trust, piece by piece. I'm not here for the motor, she says. I'm here for what I broke. Jessica returned, no SUV shine, no sunglasses, no distance. Just a worn hoodie and a notebook pressed tight in her hands. Eli didn't look up as she entered. But he didn't stop her either. She placed the notebook on the bench. This was my first project. Before the titles, the labs, before I stopped believing. He glanced at the cover, then waited. I thought the hard part was fixing that engine, she said quietly. But the truth is, it was facing what I became when I laughed. That was the failure. He stayed silent. She stepped back. Gave him space. Then, he reached for the notebook. Opened it. Flipped past the clean pages to the ones with faded sketches. And picked up his pencil. With one soft stroke, he began to draw. And without saying a word. Jessica knew he had just told her everything she needed to hear. He didn't just fix an engine. He exposed a lie. Two executives pulled up in a black SUV, suits sharp, smiles sharper. We're here for Mr. Thompson, one said, handing over a sealed offer. Eli barely glanced at the paper. I don't work with people who laugh while others are humiliated. They hesitated. He added, calmly, you've already talked. Now shut up. Hours later, the truth surfaced. A leaked internal report, technical logs, emails, timestamps. The engine wasn't flawed by chance. It was sabotaged. Ryan and his team had set Eli up. Jessica didn't speak. She didn't argue. She walked into the director's office, dropped her badge and one sentence. I don't work where silence is loyalty. Online, the video resurfaced. But this time, the spotlight wasn't on Eli's hands, it was on the company's lies. And the world was watching. They didn't just open a workshop. They started a revolution. Where Eli's old garage once stood, something new took shape, not flashy, not corporate. Just open space, sturdy benches, and sketches pinned on every wall. There were no logos. No titles. Just people. Thinkers. Builders. Learners. Jessica came daily, no badge, no authority. Only her hands and ideas. One afternoon, Ryan appeared. No car. No smirk. Just a man stripped of ego. I'm not here to apologize, he said. I know it's not enough. I got fired. I deserved it. But thank you, for not becoming like us. Eli didn't reply. Just looked at him. A second longer than silence allowed. It wasn't forgiveness. But it was heard. Ryan nodded and walked away. Later, Eli and Jessica sat on a tire outside the shop. Coffee in hand. Nothing said. Nothing needed. And for the first time in a long time, it felt like something real had been repaired. You don't need applause to build something that matters. The new workshop buzzed, not with noise, but with energy. Students, hobbyists, engineers. Some had degrees. Some had none. It didn't matter. Everyone came to build, to learn, to listen. Noah stood proudly beside his hybrid bike, crafted from scrap and ambition. Eli circled it, checked the wiring, the frame, the balance. One nod. One word. It works. Across the room, cameras flashed. Not for spectacle, for recognition. Jessica took the mic briefly. "This is Eli Thompson," she said, steady and clear. Co-founder. Lead designer. The reason we're. Later, as the crowd thinned, she nudged his shoulder with a soft grin. "Remember when I said I'd marry you if you fixed that engine?" Eli looked at her. No smirk. Just a truth delivered plain. "I didn't fix the engine," he said. "We fixed something else." No vows. No headlines. Just a quiet moment where the world finally saw him, not just for what he built, but for who he had always been.